Hello and welcome to the YouTube channel of mprugs.com. My name is Mike Pana. I'm the owner of the website and also the moderator in the videos that is all about Persian rugs and carpets from around the world. In this video, I like to talk about two types of silk rugs, and this is actually a topic that came up just recently. I spoke to one of my clients who also found me through the YouTube videos, and he is an avid collector of Turkish Hereke rugs, like the one that you see to my right. And one of the questions that he asked was, why are the Hereke rugs much more expensive than the Persian Qum rugs that you see to my left? And so what I did was, I took two pieces that are about the same size, same quality. And quality, what I mean by that is they have the same, roughly, the same knot count. By all practical purposes, these are two rugs, both have about 700 knots per square inch. This to my right is a Hereke silk. It's a 10-10 quality, meaning it has 10 knots per centimeter. And on the left is a pure silk Qum, also same size, same knot count. Both of them are roughly 90 centimeters by 60 centimeters. And what I'm going to do is, when I get behind the camera, I'm going to show you a little bit about the differences. I'm also going to explain to you why the Turkish Hereke rugs are sometimes about twice as expensive as the Persian Qum rugs. Yes, they're both pure silk. Yes, they're both some of the finest types of Persian rugs. But when you look at pound for pound, even though when they have the similar knot count, the same size, you will see a big price difference between the two. Generally, the genuine Hereke rugs, and we're talking about the older Turkish pieces that are really no longer being made. We're talking about Turkish Hereke rugs. I am not talking about the Chinese ones. So I'm going to get behind the camera. I'm going to lay the two pieces out side by side, and I'm going to show you a little bit about the differences that I think some of you who are collectors and who are passionate about Persian rugs, especially the silk rugs, because there's an awful lot of folks who really like to collect them. This may be of help to you in determining whether a Turkish one is what you want or whether you're okay with the Persian one. Generally speaking, my clients hang both types up, and they're pretty much the same type of buyers. The person, whether they want to spend, let's say, $2,000 or $3,000 on a pure silk Qum Persian rug, or they want to spend $3,000 to $4,000 on a Turkish Hereke rug, typically the same type of individual. So in this video, I'm going to share with you some of the differences and try to explain it to you. There's lots of other videos about the Qum rugs as well as the Hereke rugs, especially if you are looking at purchasing a Turkish Hereke rug. Check out the videos that we have where we discuss the Turkish and the Chinese so that you know how to tell the difference, which I have made the videos about. So I'm going to see you again here in just a little bit. So as always, here I am back again behind the camera, and just as I mentioned earlier, we got two beautiful pure silk rugs. To the left, you have a Qum Persian rug. To the right, you have a Hereke Turkish. Both of them pure silk, both of them roughly the same size, which is 90 centimeters by 60 centimeters. And both of them have about the same knot count. And I specifically chose two rugs, even though the design is very different. both pure silk. They both have about 700 knots per square inch. To the left is a Qum rug that I have, for example, on my website for right about, I believe it's $2,200. To the right is a Hereke rug that I believe is on my website for right about $3,800 or close to $4,000. So the question asked is, why is the Hereke so much more expensive than the Persian Qum rug when they are both basically the same quality, the same material, the same knot count? Why is there a big price difference? Well, here is a few examples. The Hereke rugs are no longer, basically the Turkish ones have become all but obsolete. Unfortunately, the Chinese have pretty much destroyed them. And a lot of the fault, honestly, goes to the Turkish government. I'm going to be very careful with the word that I would use, but the not so brilliant Turkish government decided to literally allow the name Hereke, which you see in the signature right there. The Turkish government allowed the region that was known as Hereke in Turkey they just broke it apart. They said there was not enough people, the little towns, the villages, they said due to the lack of population, they really is no longer a place called Hereke, which I think is actually not true. But the Turkish government gave up on that word. The Chinese jumped on it, bought it. They basically trademarked. The Turkish government, from what I understand, took them to court. They lost the court hearings. And so the Chinese are allowed to use the name Hereke in their Chinese silk rugs, even though we know what is meant by that is Turkey. But what it has done, it has really raised the awareness and the value of the existing Hereke rugs. So here's a perfect example. The difference between the two pieces, the pure silk Qum rug, which is still readily being made in Iran, these rugs are a lot cheaper because they're still being made on a regular basis. Whereas the Turkish ones have basically discontinued. And it's driving up the prices of the good quality existing pieces. Now that, like the one on the right, 40 years old, about closer probably to 50 years, based on the colors and design, we're thinking, yeah, about 50 years, 55, something like that. Whereas on the left, brand new. That's part of the reason why they are more expensive. Simply supply and demand. Another reason is the type of knot. The Qum rugs, like the Isfahan rugs, like the Nain rugs, the Qum is made using what is known as a Persian knot, which is a single knot. The Turkish Hereke use what is known as a Turkish knot, which is also what is used in, let's see here, I'm just going to hold up the camera, the Tabriz rugs that you see right here to my left, and the beautiful pictorial piece. These are all Tabriz rugs. They use what is known as a Turkish knot. The Turkish knot is a double knot. Single knot first for the Persian rug, double knot for the Turkish, as well as Tabriz. So in order for you to basically double knot a rug, and do apologize for the background noise, being in the wholesale district here of Hamburg, Germany. We are in the midst of, sometimes we have tourist boats that actually go by. So just want to let you know, that is the noise that you're hearing, the little siren there. But basically, make a double knot, Turkish knot, with the same density. You can see with the same knot count as a Qum rug is much more time consuming, much more challenging. So the cost, I always tell people, even though there's the same knot count and the same material, the cost and the time, and that's really what the cost of the rug, a lot of it has to do with how much time is spent. A Hereke rug takes a lot longer to make than a pure silk Qum, simply because basically you have twice as many knots that have to be put in by the Hereke than the Qum. These are single knotted, basically they're double knotted because of the type of knot. Another thing is the material. The Turkish silk is much finer than the Persian one, and you can tell that when you look at the fringes. The amount, I'm going to zoom in here. Let me see if I cannot zoom in. Notice how the fringe on the left, you see the fringe of the Qum rug. It appears much thicker than the Hereke. In order for the Hereke to have the same knot count, you need to have basically thinner, a finer and yet stronger silk than in the Qum rugs. The Qum rug, being that it's going to be a single knot, they can use basically a thicker type of silk. What it basically means is, I want you to imagine the silk. This is all natural silk. But I want you to imagine the silk is like the hair. Imagine hair. Adult hair versus children's hair. You know, on a child, the hair, it's much, much thinner than it is on an adult. That is why the Hereke rugs, they tend to be finer. They're also thinner than the pure silk Qum rugs. The silk in the Hereke rugs is of a much higher quality. And this is, yes, my family is from Iran. I am not trying to badmouth people, because, you know, whenever you get the cultures going, there's going to be people leaving comments left and right about this is not this and that. What I'm trying to tell you is this. The silk that is used in the Qum is basically a lower priced, thicker quality, thicker grade than the one that is used in the Hereke, because they have to do this. Otherwise, if they use the same silk in the Qum rugs for the Hereke rugs, being that this is double knotted, the knot count would be much lower than it is currently. So that is one of the things that I wanted to share with you. Like I said, this was brought on by one of my clients who has found the videos, who absolutely loves the Turkish Hereke rugs, and asked about why the Hereke pieces are so much more expensive than the pure silk Qum. So to recap, Hereke, finer silk, much higher grade, much more expensive type of silk than in the pure silk Qum rugs. Also, even though these are double knotted versus single knot, which drives up the labor cost in itself. So, and you also have the fact there's the pure silk Qum rugs, they're still being made. Yes, there are now machine-made rugs like I talk about in my other videos. Yes, there are, of course, Chinese imitations. but there's still pure silk Qum rugs being made versus the Hereke pieces have become really more collectibles now, especially for the genuine Turkish ones. And so I hope you like this video that explains a little bit about the price differences and the whys. Again, this was made possible. This video was inspired really by our good friend in the southern part of Africa. So you know who you are. Best wishes to you, to everyone else out there. As you can see, if you got some good questions and comments, I am trying to keep up. I follow up on them. Feel free to email us at mprugs.com or leave us comments in the comments section. Feel free to subscribe, and best wishes to all of you, and look forward to many more videos to come. Take care. Bye-bye.